driving, boy, I'm gonna die riding.
Sung like he couldn't sing that song. Well, I am really delighted to be your official welcomer today. Kathy Ann Lewis is with the Inward Journey group on their Inward Journey retreat out at Rainbow Lodge, and she sends all of her love and blessings to us. And so today I wanted to just get you to sign in to our Facebook. If you take your phone out, do you have your phones? I do this every week. I do a selfie with the musicians, but I thought since I'm up here and I have the microphone, I would do a selfie with you all. So gather, come on. There we go. Photo bomb. Excellent. We'll put that right on Facebook. Yeah. Kathy Ann will go, never again. We also like to honor anyone who is having a birthday this week or last week. We have a gift for you, so if you would stand, we'd like to give you a gift. There's some birthdays there, Lon, yeah. Happy birthday to you. Birthday to you. There's a couple over there, where are they? And welcome. We are glad you're here, and we're glad that you were born and sharing your time here with us. If you're new, we have some gifts for you that are in the basket, not in the basket, but in a bag that says, "New here, take me." Isn't that simple? Those are out on our welcome table out there, and inside there's lots of groovy things, but there's also a connection card, which should be also in the seat backs behind you and some of the seats there. And if you'd like to get on our email list to get on our spiritual practice, which is a weekly email from us, or if there's something new happening here at CSL, the bridge is up, we'll send you a quick email. Those are there. You can put them in the offering baskets, and there's also the cards in the offering baskets going around if you need to find one.
Let us take this time right here and now to recognize just that. Even with every note, that we are the hands, we are the heart, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and what we do is a blessing to the world. So I recognize this one presence living as each and every one of us. I recognize that one life living, breathing, having its being within each and every one of us here and all around the world. I take this moment to open my spiritual eyes to find the divine in everything and everyone. For truly, when we open ourselves to that place, miracles happen. Consciousness is cause, and knowing that spirit is existing in every moment allows that vibration to awaken and expand. Time is ticking. Time is ticking right here and now. And are we open to it? Are we open to that divine? I'm so blessed to know the divine in everyone, blessed to know the divine in all of our music team, blessed to know the divine in Reverend Sharon today's message. For truly a spiritual practice is study. And from that place, I am that I am. And that I am is one life, is one power, one presence. And so we open this time knowing, seeing, and opening our life, our hearts, to the omnipresence of Spirit here and now. And so it is.
Oh, thank you, James. Am I on? Thank you, James. God, you know, I don't know anybody that celebrates life more than you do. I mean, do you guys ever wish you could do that? Thank you. And thank you so much, Beverly. Later on, Beverly is going to do a song for our closing, like at the closing of the talk. She learned about it like 5 minutes before the first service started, and she got it together. Thank you so much. Lisa and Jal, thank you so much. Jal is gonna, I got the preview because I got to go to the first service. Jal is gonna knock your socks off during the collection. And Byron, I didn't know you could sing. Did you guys know Byron could sing? Okay, and James with the sunglasses, thank you. Wow. We are so lucky here. We're so lucky. And we're also really lucky to have such an incredible group of people show up, just show up to celebrate life together. To not just celebrate life together, but to also bring just who you are, whatever you're going through, to this place right now. Because whatever you need, whether it's somebody to jump up and down with you, whether it's somebody to hug you, whether it's somebody to just pray for you, you turn to each other here, and that's a really beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So give yourself a hand. So if you don't know me, I'm Sharon Ramey. I'm one of the ministers here, and I get to be here today because Kathy Ann is off creating miracle workers. Truly. I mean, truly. She is providing this beautiful place, this beautiful space called the Inward Journey class for people to explore their own selves, their spirituality, and discover that miracle-making power that is within them, that oneness, that God power that's within them. So she truly is off creating miracle workers. So have any of you ever felt like maybe you could use a little miracle-making power? If you're like me, you've got calls that happen. I mean, these like voices that say, wow, this is what should be done in the world. And, oh, maybe this is what I should do. And wow, my soul really wants to pursue that. You been there? And a lot of times when it's something big like Jane Power and Karen Ramsey and I have decided to start the Wealth Ministry, which is about promoting the abundant life for all people in the world. Take a breath. Sometimes that sounds big. Have you guys ever had stuff that sounds too big? Isn't it a lot of the time you can tell because you say, oh, someone else should do it. Someone should really take care of that. Anybody been there? Well, Emma Curtis Hopkins, the New Thought Christian mystic, who is one of Ernest Holmes' teachers, Ernest Holmes was the person who started Science of Mind, she said, if you see a job to do, it's probably yours. So if you're seeing big stuff out there in the world that needs to be done, it just might be yours. It just might be yours. And what you can know for certain is that whatever it takes, whatever miracle-making power you need is already within you. Already within you. So an example that comes to mind is my sister May. She teaches a class on the CSO, the Chief Spiritual Officer. Has anybody here been to her class? Okay. Is it full of miracles? Okay, so you learn a lot about becoming a miracle maker, right? Thank you, Cindy. And, well, May, only about a year ago, came up to me and said, Sharon, somebody really needs to teach a class about partnering up with God. I said, well, it's not mine to do. Is it yours? She goes, no, I'm like not a teacher. Like I'm a business person. I'm not a teacher. And I was like, well, then it may not get done. Well, can't somebody here teach that? I said, I tell you what, I'll talk to the people in the education department. And what we did was we got her on the docket in the business ministry, teaching because she's a very good business person. So she taught her class that way. Fast forward, She is now going to publish a book on the same subject in March, hardcover by Hierophant Publishing, and she has already speaking engagements lined up internationally to teach what has worked for so many people here. So she was able to tap into that miracle-making power within her. So how do you do that? Well, what I know is that you need to cultivate some faith. You need some other stuff too, but one of the things I know is you need to cultivate some faith that is within you. So how do you do that? Well, it just so happens I have another friend named Libby Wagner who wrote a book called The Influencing Option. If anybody has read it, she has a really sweet little trick for increasing confidence. Now, I was just talking about faith. What does confidence have to do with it? Well, confidence is the layman's term for faith. In fact, Emma Curtis Hopkins, again, says that you will know how much faith you have in God or in the universe. So, you know that whole thing about the universe is in a grand conspiracy for your benefit? I don't know how much faith you have in that, but you'll know how much faith you have in the universe and in its conspiracy for your benefit by how much confidence you have in yourself. Now think about that. How many people do you hear say, oh man, I have like lots of faith in God. It's just I don't have any confidence in myself. Not possible. So one of the ways we can start to increase our faith in God is by increasing confidence in yourself. And as I said, Libby Wagner's got the perfect little formula. She says, take a risk. That's it. That's the formula. Okay, let me repeat it. Ready? Take a risk. She says when you take a risk, no matter how small, what happens is you learn something. How many of you have ever taken a risk and just really not learned anything? Now, sometimes we learn stuff we don't much want to learn, right? Like I remember starting a business one time, and I thought it would be like really cool to have all these employees and stuff. Well, what I discovered was I hate management. Well, that's really hard to have a business where you have 250 employees coming through every year, cycling through, and hate management. Cindy Clay is looking at me and saying, well, maybe that's why they cycled through and didn't stay. You're right, Cindy. And, but I took a risk. I learned something. I learned I hated management. Fortunately, I have a husband who's very good at management and his sister, May, who was only 19 and willing to do anything for $8 an hour. And so I brought her in and she just managed everybody. Okay? So I got to make lunch. So it was great. It was a great business. Anyway, but I learned I didn't like management. Did that learning give me confidence? Yes. It looked like a failure. It looked like an abysmal failure, but it gave me confidence because then after that, I never accepted a job that had anything to do with management except management of myself. Okay? Even that is sometimes hard. So sometimes we learn things that we don't particularly want to learn, but we also, the other thing that happens is when you learn, you gain competence and confidence. So do you see how anytime you take even a little risk, something out of the normal, what you do is you gain confidence, which is faith, right? So that is the first step in becoming a miracle maker. And the other thing that you do is you become a new person. When you learn something, you become a new person. Let me explain what I mean by that. My daughter went to school to become a dietitian. Before she went to school, she was not a dietitian, was she? she went to school. She learned about becoming a dietitian. She went to an internship and started practicing it. She worked in a hospital and then in a clinic. She passed her boards, and she became a dietitian. Do you see how the result of learning changes you? How many of you drive a car? Do you remember the time before you was a driver? Right? Before there was a time before BD, before driving. But we wanted to drive, and it was kind of a risk to get in that car. I mean, you go to driver's ed if you're young enough, but or you have your mom teach you. But you get in a car, and it's kind of a risk. It's probably more risk for your parents than for you, but anyway, it was a risk, right? It was a risk. Anybody remember holding that wheel and having the pedals, right? But there was a time where you were not a driver, and then there's a time when you became one. Do you see? What happened in the middle was learning, right? Book learning and getting in the car and taking a risk learning. And then you become. So learning changes you. Learning makes you someone new. Okay. So now I'm going to teach you the dance. This is the dance you are going to remember forever. Okay? Everybody stand up. Okay. Stand right here and say, I am.
I am.
Jump over one. I risk. Back. I am. This is before driving. This is taking a risk. This is who I am now, the new person I am now. One more time. Actually, 3 more times. I am. I risk. I am. Dum, dum. I am. I risk. I am. One more time. I am. I risk. I am. Do that 50 times a day, every morning, okay? In front of the mirror, preferably with feathers on, all right? So now I want to tell you a little story. I don't often tell this story. In fact, I hardly ever tell this story. But today, in light of the subject, I'm going to take a little risk. And this story is about when I was, well, I'll just tell you. When I was growing up, I grew up in Hawaii. Many of you know that. I grew up in Hawaii, and I love to dance. Can you tell, huh? I risk I am. You know. Anyway, I grew up in Hawaii, and in Hawaii, there wasn't really the option to do, at least back then, there wasn't a lot of option to do other than hula and Tahitian and Maori dancing and stuff like that. So I signed up to learn how to do hula and Tahitian when I was very young. And as Deb and probably Jane can testify, growing up in Hawaii and being Haole, which is Caucasian, when they have the big hula get-togethers, like when you're all on stage and showing off what you can do as a school, generally speaking, those people who are Haole get stuck in the back row, right? Which, yeah, that's just the way it was, okay? But, you know, I would stand like way in the back row, like 5 or 6 rows back, doing my little hula, and thinking, you know what? I'm just as good as those people in the front row. I'm just as good as those people, and someday I'm going to be one of those people in the front row. Do you see that? I am. I'm going to be one of those people in the front row. But then I went off to college, and about a year, right after my junior year in college, I came home and spent the summer at home. Well, in the last week that I was home, my dad got complimentary tickets to go to a show down in Waikiki. We didn't often go to shows down in Waikiki, but he got complimentary tickets, so we decided to go. And so it was just the 2 of us, and I went with him, and we went to see the Don Ho Show. How many of you are old enough to remember the Don Ho Show? We went to see the Don Ho Show. Well, you know, there's a lot of stuff about my dad that I never knew until later. And one of the things that I found out that night was the reason that he got complimentary tickets is that for years he had been Don Ho's doctor, and I never knew it. But that night, I knew it. And we got to go back to, we saw the show. It was spectacular, especially the dancers. Oh my God. And there was only one line of them. There were 2 lines. There were 1 line, and they were gorgeous and wonderful, and what they were doing just made my heart sing. So after the show, I went backstage. Got to go backstage with my dad, and Don Ho spent some time chatting with us. And so he asked me, and I told him I was going back to college in a couple of days for my final year. And I don't know whether it's the champagne they were serving in the backstage or what, but all of a sudden I looked at him and said, well, how come you have no Howleys dancing in your show? Well, he looked at me with kind of a glint in his eye, and he said, why? Can you dance? And again, it was probably the champagne, but I was like, damn straight I can, right? Or something to that effect. Anyway, so I told him that I could, and he said, well, I tell you what, you're going back to college in a couple of days. He said, how about when you graduate, which is just, 9 months away, when you graduate, why don't you come back and we'll talk? And I was like, good. I'd like to have a conversation about this, right? So I went back and didn't think about it too much throughout the year, but I went back at the end of the year and remembered he had said to come back and talk. So I grabbed my dad and I said, I'll even pay for the tickets this time. We have to go down. I want to have this conversation. So we went down to the show and watched again, and the dancers, he did a nice job of Tiny Bubbles and, that kind of stuff. But the dancers, oh my God. And I thought, I would love to do that kind of dancing. And so I was waiting to go backstage. It was like, okay, when's the show going to end so we can go backstage, right? And then all of a sudden, he pulls me up on stage. Just pulls me up on stage, and I'm like, standing there in front of 700 people. My face is getting red. I feel like I'm in a barf. Or faint, one of the two. I have no idea why I'm up there, and I'm easily embarrassed. So he knew I was kind of concerned, so he puts his arm around my shoulder and he looks out at the audience. He looks out at the audience and he says, this girl tells me she can dance. And I'm like, and he looks out and says, should we give her an audition? So the place went bonkers. They said, yeah, let's go! And I'm like, shut up. Anyway, so I'm standing there. He backs away from me. I'm all by myself. He turns around and motions to his drummer. Okay, Augie, hit the drums. Now, I don't know if you know what Tahitian dancing is like, but it's all drums, and you move your hips at the speed of light, okay? And so he said, and the other thing is, you know that phenomena when you scratch a dog behind and his little leg just starts, going like, are you guys familiar with that? That's what happens to me when I hear drums is like, right? When I hear Tahitian drums, it's something takes over, right? So I heard the drums, and I'm just like, I'm just going to be hell, right? And there's silence in the audience. All of a sudden, the drums stop, and you know that feeling when you can tell that something's wrong, like you did something wrong, like I looked down to see if I still had my skirt on, and and something was wrong. And there was silence throughout the place, and I just looked over at him, and he had the kind of smile, like real patronizing smile, and he looks over and motions to his lead dancer and says, Aulani, get me a skirt. Well, if you know anything about Tahitian dancing, when you're dancing Tahitian, you don't move your shoulders. You squat down, and then you let your hips move round and round at the speed of light. Okay? You got that? So, if you're wearing a tent dress that comes down from your shoulders, it covers everything. So what the audience is seeing is this girl on stage going, and they're thinking, yeah, she can dance, right? So fortunately, they strap this skirt on me, which tends to define your hips, and then the drums go, and you can see it, and the skirt just starts flying with the least little bit of movement, okay? So then the audience is screaming and stuff, and the drums go on for longer than they need to, but I'm still in the fugue. And then he comes up, stands beside me, and says, "So what do you think? Should we hire her?" The audience screams yes. And in front of everyone, he says, "Today's Friday night." He says, "How about you show up ready to dance on Monday?" That meant I had to learn all their routines throughout the weekend. And the poor lead dancer, she's like, "Why does he do this?" Right? Anyway, so I had to learn all the routines that weekend. But here's the thing. You would think, "Oh my God, she got her chance. What she said was, oh my God, I'd love to be in the front row, blah, 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 blah. And here she's got her chance," right? You would think it would be a slam dunk, wouldn't you? It's not. All of a sudden, all my fears came up. All my fears came up about, oh my God, it's been several years. I haven't danced since college. Since before I went to college. Can I do it again? Oh my God, was that just bravado that I showed up there? Can I really? I'd never danced professionally with a group. What's it going to be like with these women that I'm dancing with? How are they going to feel about me coming in? And on and on and on. And I totally wanted to call and say, "Oh, that was really nice, but I have another summer job that I have to do instead." I so wanted to do that. And I think my dad, sweet man, was sensing a little bit of that. And he said, "Sharon, you can't fail at this. You can't fail. It's the chance of a lifetime. No matter what happens, you will tell this story." So I went ahead and signed up to go ahead. I spent all weekend learning the routines, found out that I could still dance, and I went on to dance for a year and a half with him. I got a chance to go to Vegas. I got a chance to be with the top entertainer in Hawaii. I got a chance to dance in the top entertainment place in the world at that time, Las Vegas. Oh my gosh. And there was something else. What? Oh, and the lead dancer left to go sell real estate, so he put me in as lead dancer. I think that's where I stopped liking management. But anyway, but the thing I'm trying to tell you is I went on after that. That was a risk. It was a risk to do that. But I went on, I learned something. I gained confidence during that. And all of the confidence that I gained during that served me so well as other things that I really wanted to do came up. Have you ever had that experience where you think, "Oh man, I really am drawn to do X, Y, Z," and you're like, "Well, I was able to do this, so of course I can do that." Have you ever had that? So everything that you've ever done in your life, every risk you've ever taken in your life has given you some confidence that is going to help you in the next thing that you do. The only thing you don't want to do is discount it. Okay? So back to the dance. The I am, I risk, I am. Let's dissect that. The I am the I am at this point, the first I am is the I am of your future self. It's the I am a dancer in the first string of dancers. I am a dancer with the Don Ho Show. I'm a dancer in Vegas. And your little mind says, BS, you are not yet. Right? Have you ever had that answer? You know how they tell you in our teaching, okay, just claim what you want to be, as if it's happening now. And what does your little mind say? Yeah. Oh, get over it. You are not, right? But here's the risk. The risk is to claim it anyway, because most of the time we won't even claim it because we think we're being foolish, right? Most of the time, if we don't know how we're going to get there or how it's going to happen, then we don't even bother to claim it. So what I want to say is take a risk, number one, to just claim, I am. So I want you to take a moment and think about your own I am. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be? I remember when my husband decided he wanted to be a business owner. Scared the bejesus out of me. He said, Sharon, I'm a business owner. I'm not meant to be an employee anymore. I'm a business owner. And I was like, well, maybe you could just suck it up for a few more years, like till retirement. No, I didn't say that. But he so knew that that's who he was, okay? Who do you want to say, I am? Who do you want to stand up in front of the world and say, I am? Everybody gets something. Some I am. Anybody want to scream one out? Artist. An artist? Thank you. What?
I'm an international speaker and teacher.
International speaker and teacher. Thank you. Are you that now, Piper? Yes. No, I mean, seriously, are you traveling outside the country? So, no, here's why I ask that. Here's why I ask that is because I want you guys to get that people are standing up and saying courageously, they're taking a risk to say, I'm an international speaker and teacher, or I'm an artist, and they're having to deal with that little voice inside that says, you are not, get over yourself, right? So I just want to say, go ahead and risk claiming who you want to be right now. Anybody else?
Writer.
A writer. Okay. So now that you've got something in your mind, does everybody have something that they would like to say, I am, to the world? Okay. If you do, then the next step is take a risk. So first of all, I am, the first I am. Second, take a risk. What could you do? How might you step out, just even a little tiptoe out, to risk doing what you said, doing something toward what you said you wanted to be? Because remember that when you take a risk, you're going to gain confidence. Now, why don't we take risks? Because we're fearful. We fear rejection. Think back to my Don Ho experience. We feel rejection. We feel like we're gonna fail. We feel like we'll be wrong. We feel like we might be uncomfortable, embarrassed, ridiculed. Any of those. Anybody besides me feel like they've ever had the fear of like failure or being wrong or any of those? Any of them that kept you from, and the rest of you are all living your dreams, right? So if you've ever had your fear, I just have to pass on this tip from Kathy Ann. I think she told me this like 20 years ago, and it truly has stuck with me. And Deb and Barbara are teaching the current self-mastery class, which is the Kathy Ann's class, and this information is in there. But how about, that whole continuum about over here is success and over here is failure, right? And so even though we're being called to success, we're fearing failure, so sometimes we don't step in fully to the risk. Anybody been there? Okay, so Kathy Ann said the most elegant thing. She said, change the whole concept of success and failure to one of learning or not learning. Now, as I said with the whole management thing, there's things that felt like failure to me, risks that I took that felt like abysmal failure. I won't bore you with all the rest of the examples, but once I could look at it as I could learn something from this, then it's easier for me to take the risk. Does that make sense? So, and she also said another cool thing. She said, what if when you die, there really is a light tunnel and a pearly gate and all of that? And what if the only questions they asked you were, how much did you live? I mean, how much did you learn and how much did you love? What if life was just one whole opportunity to learn as much as we could in the short time we have here with the talents and stuff that we have? Wouldn't that be a more fun life than cowering safely in the place of I'm not going to risk? Yes, Sharon, that would be a lot more fun. That would be like great fun to go, right? Okay. I can tell you are all praying for the Seahawks. We will do a prayer for the Seahawks before we end, all right? So right now, attention here, okay? All right, so we got the first I am, right? We got the I am, we got the risk. Now we're going to go back to the last I am. The last I am is, according to my friend Kelly LaRue, the most important part, because it's at that point that you look at your risk, you look at the experience, you look at the learning, you look at the confidence you created, and you acknowledge it all, and you say, who am I now? It's kind of like the person who learned how to drive, and all of a sudden, they hold their license up and say, I am a licensed driver. It's like that recognition that what you declared has come to pass and that you can depend on that in the future. You can lean into that confidence in the future. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is a very important step, and I find a lot of people bypass this step. They bypass the demonstration that they have and the new person that they've become because of that demonstration. So I ask you in this final I am, to notice that you just became a miracle worker. You just became a miracle worker. You claimed you were going to be a driver or a writer or a speaker or a business owner. You risked something, and now you is it. That's a miracle worth not discounting. That's a miracle worth saying, I am that power of God. I am that miracle-making power because it came through my words. You got it? Okay, so, and finally, in summary, the dance. Remember the dance. 50 times every morning in front of the mirror. I am, I risk, I am. I am, I risk, I am. Okay, so I'm not kidding. And then every day take something, take some little risk, and then notice what happened. Notice how you're changed. Notice the new person that you've become just because of going home a different way. Okay? So, all right, so in celebration of this, I'd like to close in prayer. And the prayer that we're closing in, first of all, let us bless the Seahawks, unless, of course, you're for another team, and then, of course, we'll bless them too. And we know that all is working out for the highest and best good of Seattle, unless you're for another team, and then them too. So, okay. All right, so are we complete regarding Seahawks? Okay, so I'd like to honor this whole thing about risk. by doing a prayer that's a huge risk for me. And those who've been invited to join, you know who you are if you feel called. Would you listen to these words? This is written by Aaron McGon. Would you please listen to these words and be inspired by them, because these words capture the whole reason you're trying to become a miracle worker.
Lead me on, I will trust in you. Lead me on, I will follow. I may laugh or I may cry, I may ask the reason why, I may fall before I fly, but I will follow. Lead me on, I will trust in you. Lead me on, I will follow. I may laugh or I may cry, I may ask the reasons why, I may fall before I fly, but I will follow. Lead me on, I will trust in you. Lead me on, I will follow. I may laugh or I may cry, I may ask the reason why, I may fall before I fly, but I will follow. Lead me on.
So let us hold our financial support to the center in your hand, or hold your hand to your heart. And let's just take a deep breath in and release together. And so what a beautiful experience this morning has been of showing who we truly are together, of opening our heart up wide and knowing that each of us have within us this great shining light. And so we each are doing our I am, I risk, I am dance. And this center, the Center for Spiritual Living, is the place to be loved and witnessed, and a place to grow and share that light. For it is each one of us that make up this spiritual community. And so we share not only our financial support to this community, we share our talent and our time, for it is we who grow this community. And so I know that too, that it's flowing through each one of us individually and connecting with others, connecting with friends and family, and the impact of the center of light just grows and grows and attracts all those who are seeking this. And so I know how beautiful this plan is, and I trust it in faith and confidence. And so as this is true for me, I know it's true for you, and let us affirm that truth by saying together out loud, and so it is.